Yes, family. We're gonna have a build. You know how we do. Conversations. So let me jump match fit on ASAP. Yeah. Walk one. There we go. See, walk one. Okay. Yo. Bing bang.
Oh, family. You said you good?
Yeah, boy, here still.
They are still. So, how long have we got? Because I know really you want to keep it the hour, innit?
Well,
doing a little run around. So
yeah.
Over the next half an hour, I'm still gonna keep it moving, innit? And then I'll have a little time to sit down and be more clear. But obviously we can still talk. But man's gonna be moving a bit erratic, innit?
Who's this? Where's East Ham very own crip? East Ham is gateway. But yeah, whatever the weather, bro. Man, I hear, you know, we're here. You know, a few people are gonna get ready to jump onto the live as well. You know, straight from America and all that. So we're gonna talk a little bit more. I know you want to get onto your subject of matter and thing. So I thought, let's have this convo.
So
but match fit, yeah. I want to pull it where, you know, when we get everyone in this convo, like when we properly get things set it up, we're gonna have something like a 2 minute timer or something, innit? So so we can just break it down a little bit more. But that's when everyone joins, you know. So but now you can break down your premises and what you want to talk about, and you know, because it's a continuation of the last video that we had about consciousness and all that, you know.
So I'll basically break down the premise here, and basically the fundamental essence of what I'm gonna try and conclude. I'll start with the conclusion. Is the importance of understanding the relevance of consciousness to physical reality. Yeah, the extreme relevance of it is extremely relevant, and I know to somebody who studies science from a physical, from a Western scientific point of view, who basically means you just study material reality. That's what Western science considers science. In fundamental, that's all you consider in it, material sciences. As someone who sees it that way, someone who sees it the way I sees it, sees that you're missing the biggest part of the whole picture, because the immaterial is more significant than the material. In fact, the material, don't get me wrong, they're all two sides of the same coin. So I can't say one is more important than the other. That doesn't make sense. But the material reality is a consequence of that which is immaterial. What we see here is like a hologram, right? If you was to see a hologram, what makes that image is all the mechanics in some machine that you're not even looking at. You're looking at the picture that the machine is creating. But that picture isn't real, it's just a hologram, innit? The machine is real, but the machine makes what you're looking at. Okay. If you want to change what you're looking at, you don't play with the image, you play with the machine. This is how reality works, and this is basically what I'm getting at. But if you want to play with the image, you have to play with the machine. Yeah, but if you're trying to play with the image, by playing with the image, you're going to get nowhere because it's a hologram.
Yes, I'm saying. But that's what consciousness is. If it's a hologram, and then what
No, my point is, I'm not saying, this is the point I'm making is consciousness is the machine.
But it can't be the machine.
That's the analogy.
No, but that's what I'm trying to say. No, but what I would say is that the tangible is the machine. You're trying to say that the consciousness is the machine.
You're missing my analogy. That's why I made that analogy. You've got it the other way around. The point I was trying to suggest, this is my premise, innit? This is the conclusion I'm going to reach to in the end after making whatever claims I'm going to make. But the conclusion I'm making is the material reality is a consequence. What we perceive as material reality is a consequence of what is going on in immaterial reality. You understand? It's a consequence. And therefore, therefore, to make material reality move a certain way, the actual best way to do that is play with immaterial reality. So that was why I'm saying, if the hologram is material reality.
The hologram it's not material, is it? The hologram.
Yeah, no, but in my analogy.
Yeah, but then that analogy is a little bit, you know what I mean? Because you're saying that the hologram is the physical reality, and the machine, which is the brain, is the matter, or no, I mean the consciousness. But in reality,
I didn't say it's the matter. I didn't say it's the matter.
No, the consciousness. Yeah, the consciousness.
I didn't say it's the matter.
No, I know. I said the consciousness. The consciousness is the machine.
Yes.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is,
what the hologram.
But yeah, and the physical is the hologram.
Yes.
But
that's the analogy.
That's the analogy that you use. But what I done is turn it around to what makes sense, because the brain and the machine is something tangible that creates a hologram, which is the vision. This is the reason why I switched it around, because I didn't really understand what why you use that analogy, if anything, because it didn't really make sense to what you're using.
That's what I'm explaining. It's not to you to agree, but it's important for you to understand what the analogy.
Yeah.
So this is what's important. You don't have to agree, but you have to understand it. Now you're saying you don't understand, so that's the
No, I'm saying that I understand it I'm saying that I understand it in the way I'm saying that I understand it, but in the way that I'm putting it, not the way that you're putting it.
No, but then again, you're missing the analogy again. Look, I get what you're saying, but there's no point in understanding my analogy the way you're putting it, because the way you're putting it isn't what I'm trying to express. Understanding my analogy doesn't mean you agree with it. It just means you understand what I'm expressing. But in essence, you do get it. You get what I'm suggesting.
Yeah.
I'm suggesting consciousness creates material reality. I'm saying immaterial reality creates material reality. Last time we had this convo, I gave the example of the Big Bang. Yeah? And I gave the example of, if material reality is the thing that does everything, then how do you get a Big Bang in the first place? There can be no Big Bang if material reality is the beginning of anything. You understand? Of everything, sorry. You can't get a Big Bang if you need something physical to exist to make a Big Bang, because the Big Bang was the beginning of all physical reality.
Yeah, but I think,
physical reality, there can be no Big Bang.
Yeah, but I think scientists are looking a little bit more deeper than just the Big Bang, because they're trying to say that there's many many versions of the Big Bang. They're pushing the science.
I don't understand what you're saying there. I know more about what you're talking about there, and that argument doesn't deal with the point I'm making. Even in all those theories about multiverse and bouncing, they call it inflation, and infinitely inflating universe theory, where it collapses and then a Big Bang occurs, reoccurs. There is still no explanation for how you get matter with no matter. Scientists have no explanation for that. They have theories.
But there's antimatter as well.
In every theory, now I know this. Trust me, I know what you're talking about better than you, and the way the point you.
So why I'm not using those terms then, because you're saying that you can't make matter with matter, but there's a substance called antimatter, and then you have to look at that as well.
Matter one, antimatter is just a form of another matter one, and it's just a theoretical form of matter to explain the formulas that scientists use in the way that they use it. Again, just like dark matter and dark energy, this isn't a proven thing in the sense that it's tangible. It's a hole in the mass that can get filled. Do you understand? With the idea that there's a thing called antimatter.
Yeah, they're using.
When they make these terms, it isn't to define something that is known. If they coin these terms to define something that's actually unknown, but there's a known effect.
Yeah, I know. I agree with that.
It describes the effect. It doesn't describe a thing.
Okay,
so
you want to talk?
Antimatter, like there's antimatter. What does that mean? All that means is the calculations that the scientists have now.
That means that
they have to fill with a term.
That means that when there's something, there's the opposite of something. That's what that means.
All right.
So and then
you just said
what? And I just said what?
What you just said there. When there's something.
Yeah.
Again, if there's nothing, Big Bang is the beginning of antimatter as well. What you got to understand about the concept of the Big Bang is it's not only the beginning of matter, it's the beginning of time. it's improper to say before the Big Bang because time begins with the Big Bang.
Okay.
So that means there is no before.
So there's nothing called
You
nothingness.
get what I'm saying?
So what's nothingness?
Say that again?
Nothingness.
It's more than nothingness because there's not even time. This is why I'm trying to make this point. It's more than nothing. Existence doesn't even exist before the Big Bang.
Because time ain't time. Time is when physical comes into reality, innit? That's when time and space come. Yeah, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when there's a term called nothingness and there's some terms called like matter and antimatter. There's a duality in everything. So what I'm saying is,
but again, matter, antimatter, they come after things exist.
Okay, yeah. I agree with that. I agree with that.
Yeah. With a wave function, because again, reality is a wave function. Reality is a wave function.
I agree with that.
Opinion. So duality is that's why duality exists throughout the universe, because it's a wave function going to and fro, peak, trough, peak, trough, peak. That's a frequency. That's a wave. That's why duality is a principle of the universe. But this all begins after existence starts. So my point again, if material reality is the be-all and end-all, how can there be nothing that creates material reality? That's my point. You've got to understand how crucial this point is. It cannot be the be-all and end-all because it can't make itself if there's nothing there to make itself, if material reality is all there is.
Yeah, but energy can't make itself.
Yeah, you describe as energy can't. What you think of as energy is a material.
So it's something energy is something that's there and it's always existed and it can't be destroyed and everything. Yeah. So it's there. So the way I see things, some things are just there. Some things are just actually there.
But even energy as you're describing it only began at the Big Bang. Energy as you're describing it began at the Big Bang.
Where
before the Big Bang, the energy you're describing didn't exist. What that's saying is that since the Big Bang, there's the same amount of energy. At the beginning of time, the beginning of Big Bang, there's a certain amount of energy, and that amount of energy has always existed since the Big Bang. That's what that saying is saying. It's not saying that before the Big Bang the energy was there, because then that would mean that the Big Bang wouldn't be the beginning. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but there's a lot of things that's out there as well. Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
What do you mean out where?
Nothingness. The term nothingness. The term is the term of nothingness. If I Google nothingness, it's a. Let me just Google it, because
you see the Big Bang. It also describes the beginning of space. And when I say space, I don't mean outer space. I mean somewhere where nothing can exist.
Yes.
Because for there to be nothingness, there must be a place for nothingness to exist. In the context you're talking about.
All right.
So it wasn't like an empty space and then the Big Bang happened, because there is no place. Time, space are the same thing. And then it began at the Big Bang, according to that theory.
Time
so
again,
space. If that is the beginning
of a
place where something can exist.
Damn. Yeah, go on.
How can anything come to exist if they weren't there before? You get it? Material reality, science has already demonstrated it, that it cannot be what we think of.
All right, cool. I'm gonna add a sister on. The sister, my sister Tiffany.
I hope she heard all of this. I want to hear what she got to say, fam.
Nah, but we're gonna bring it back to Earth in a minute, and the human body soon. So.
Right. We can't just go away from this, because you're just ducking this a fundamental point.
No, but we had that conversation on the last one.
Science and its limits. This is what I'm getting at. This is not just my opinion. The scientists know this. Material science has limits.
Hello, sister. You're right, yeah? Tiffany.
Hey, what's up?
You did good,
How you doing?
Yes, sis. I'm gonna get on mute. I've got to do a few things. I'm listening.
Yeah, have you been listening to the convo, what she's saying? Because I don't really want to be sticking back on the last convo that we had and then keep it to like the universe. We're going to talk a little bit a bit more about matter and consciousness, but I want to bring it back to the earth realm and start bringing it back to the human body and how it coexists. So I don't know if you heard what he was saying.
Well, I just got on here. So, because I told you I had just woke up not too long ago, so I had to get my, self together, brush my teeth and all of that.
Nah.
So,
cool.
Yeah, I just got on here, so I didn't really catch everything. I know he was talking about, you know, matters in consciousness. That's all I heard him talk about.
Yeah, I think he was going around that same type of convo that we was having on the last episode, yeah, and
okay.
He kind of used a analogy that I want him to use again, because he kind of brought an analogy up and then he used it for his defense or whatever, or his argument. And really, I kind of used the same. I could easily use the same argument. No, I mean the analogy for my argument, because he mentioned something. Matchfit can correct me if I misquote him, but he said something about the illusion is the physical, and the brain is the consciousness, you know. And to me, that's a good analogy for what I'm saying, because what I'm saying is that the physical is the brain, is the machine, and which creates consciousness, which is the illusion. So Matchfit, bring it back to that analogy that you were saying, and then.
All right, again, so the premise of what I was saying, the whole point I'm trying to make is material reality is a consequence of immaterial reality. What we perceive is a consequence of what happens in the immaterial realm. Scientists also say that the way that the universe ended up is because of what they call dark energy and dark flow being condensed in certain places, and that's what made the first beginning of atoms collate together because of the dark energy, which is just another way of saying some form of matter that is immaterial, that we do not know what it is, but it has a force, and it made these molecules come together and form stars. So what I'm saying isn't mad at all. This is what your scientists will say. Yeah, material reality ends up the way it is as a consequence of immaterial reality. This is the point. I made an analogy about a hologram, and I said that when you look at a hologram, if you try and manipulate the hologram by playing with the light, it's backwards. You can do a few things, but it's backwards. But if you're looking at a hologram and you want to play with a hologram, the actual way to manipulate the hologram is play with the machine that's making the hologram. And what I'm saying is immaterial reality is the machine that creates the hologram. Material reality is the hologram. And like I said, this is more backed, science more backs what I'm saying than what you're saying. You're just looking at materials is physical. What you gotta understand about the term physical, which was really the conversation we're supposed to have today, is that physical reality is a wave function. It's not what you like to call as tangible. It's not a physical thing. Matter, what you call things, metal, wood, me, you, this fucking melon, it's a wave. It's actually a frequency, it's a wave. It's vibrating. It's a wave. If I could speed up the speed that my atoms was moving at, or not even atoms, whatever, the most fundamental particle, if I made them speed up, I wouldn't even be able to touch it. My hand would go right through it. There are particles going right through you now because their frequencies are such a wave function, they can't bump into your atom. So everything is a wave function. What we see as physical reality is an illusion our brain creates using other wave functions to create this hologram in your mind. Everything you see, touch, experience is just something your mind creates for you to interpret what's going on around you. Physical reality is an illusion, literally. So
you're basically saying
what your brain creates.
Okay, we heard
of frequencies.
Yeah, frequencies is tangible. You can test frequencies.
Yeah, you can test frequencies, but what do you mean by tangible? Is it physical? Is it physical?
No. A lot of things, because we can't actually physically touch, it don't mean that it's not tangible. You're kind of using that as a way of saying it's tangible, because if we can't see it, or if we can't feel it, that means that it's not tangible. If things can be tested, and if things can be shown, the cause and effect, that is my tangible. You can't tangible, but consciousness, you can't test it. You cannot test it. You can test frequencies.
I'm talking to you now. I'm testing your.
No, see, look. What I'm saying is,
you can't test it in a lab. You're unhappy.
Frequencies can be tested.
You've got this Western idea of measurement.
No, but okay.
I'm talking to you now. I'm literally talking to you now. I'm testing your consciousness.
All right, Tiffany, what do you think?
Your ability to perceive and and manipulate the frequencies that I'm sending to you and understand them and regurgitate a different form of frequency based on the frequencies I'm sending you. Can you see how that physical chemical reaction is happening, but it's completely based on consciousness? It's using material reality, yeah, it's using waves, physical waves like you're describing, but it's also used consciousness.
Yeah, but you can't prove that.
To occur.
All right.
With this communication, and the wickedest thing, this communication, me saying certain things can make your heart rate go up.
Okay.
And it's not because of the waves. It's not because of the waves and the words I'm using.
It's not because of the waves.
It's because of the ideas, which are completely non-physical things.
It's not because of the waves.
The physical reality.
It's,
create.
No, but it don't.
Ideas. No, but it is. It can make your heart rate go up.
Yeah, because of chemical reactions. It's because of chemical reactions. Everything in your body is linked. Everything in your body is linked. And it's linked through peripheral system, central nervous system, and sensory nervous systems. Yeah, so can affect other part of your bodies. That's a fact. That can be proven, that can be shown, that can be seen. So I'm Tiffany. So Tiffany, what you guys say? No, but Tiffany, what do you think?
You're missing, but the only reason it's not the words, it's not the waves that made your heart go up.
Yeah, it is because of that. It is because of that.
Listen, no, it's the thought. If you didn't understand the language I used and I said the same sounds, your heart rate wouldn't go up. The only reason your heart rate goes up is because your mind, not your mind, your brain, your mind as in your consciousness, could understand the meaning, which isn't a physical thing. Could understand the meaning. And because of the meaning, you felt a certain way.
Okay.
Which again, this feeling wasn't related to the physical waves that I said. It was related to your conscious experience. Your conscious experience now affected your heart rate.
All right, cool. Tiffany.
Do you get it? No.
Yeah, no, I'm hearing you, but I disagree with you, Matchfit. So there's no point me and you going back. I'm gonna disagree with that all day. So let's Tiffany. Well, Matchfit, let's Tiffany have her say.
The way that made you feel made your heart rate different.
Cause I'm gonna prove it. and show you. I got diagrams here, you know.
That's madness, bro. You can't.
I got diagrams here, you know.
I just saw it happen. I saw it annoy you, bro. I just saw it happen.
all right, Tiffany.
I saw it happen.
All right, go on, Tiffany.
Okay. Now let me see how I tackle this because I done heard multiple things here. Okay.
Oops, sorry.
Okay. Let me see. Okay. The noise in the background.
Yeah, Match it. Put your thing on mute or something. Match it.
Thank you.
Put your thing on mute. It's too much noise in the background.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me see how I'm going to tackle this because he said multiple things here. So it was kind of like he was all over the place for a little bit. Let's see. Okay, so he was talking about immaterial, right? All right, material and immaterial objects. Okay, so one of the questions that I would have to ask relate to immaterial versus material objects. Do you believe that immaterial objects have just as much life? You know, this is where we get into the panpsychism for a moment, okay? This is where the panpsychism come into place. Do you believe that the immaterial objects have just as much life and have much force as the material object?
Okay.
All right, that's one question. That's one question I have to ask you. Do you believe that immaterial objects has a life and a force just like the material object? I mean, do you believe or do you agree with the concept of panpsychism or animism?
Do you think you can give me the definition of panpsychism? Have you got it there with you, or do you not? Is it just
So panpsychism, right, deals with like how immaterial objects have some type of. The whole argument is with panpsychism that all objects, whether it be immaterial or material, have some form of life force in it, some type of energy in it. So let's say an argument like a rock, for example.
Yeah. Okay,
we know that a rock is immaterial, right? But does the rock have some type of force in it? Does it have some type of life in it? Does it have something in there? I mean, even though it's an immaterial object, but can't you really like look at the Can you go back and find out like historical things about that particular rock? You know what I'm saying? That's one example. Water. We can say that water can be immaterial, right? I mean, you know what I'm saying? But do water not have a force to it? Do water not have some type of regulation going on to it, like a material object?
Yeah.
I mean, because it's just so this just kind of piggies back on, the statement that he made by immaterial and material objects.
Okay.
That's one question I would have to ask him. Now, he was talking about the wave function. All right, so now he was kind of going all over the place with the wave function for a moment. Because I know he was saying about wave function relating to consciousness. Okay, and I know you were saying that, like, certain things can't be measured, and some things can be measured. Well, okay, so consciousness, right? Again, going back to the initial conversation, we said that consciousness can be subjective at this point, and
Objective.
It could be objective. All right. So now, how do you go about measuring consciousness? That's the question. How do you go about doing it? How do you go about measuring consciousness? And first, here's the question where every person may ask you, what exactly is the consciousness? And is consciousness really a subjective thing or the objective? And if so, how do you say you can measure it? How do you go about measuring consciousness? In what ways would you use it? What type of tools or what type of what type of system would you use to go about measuring it? So,
I don't know if Match Fit can hear all of that. I know he's a little bit busy. I don't know what he's doing. He's out shopping. But what I would say to that, is that is basically exactly what I'm saying, because what I know is that everything, like frequencies can be tested, vibrations can be tested. It can be, you can show and see the cause and effect of things and how it works. They worked out how frequencies enters into your earlobe and creates sound. So they know how all of these systems work within the body. So all of these can be tested in terahertz and etc. They can see it and they can amp it up or lower the frequencies to see the cause and effect of things. So all of these are tangible stuff that they can actually put in a lab and work on, and then how it's used on the human body. They can understand a little bit of how they can treat with people with problems with their ear and how they so frequencies. So what I'm saying is basically frequencies and vibrations.
Oh, you was going out. I didn't catch the last part because you was going out.
I was saying basically that when it comes to frequencies and vibrations that he was trying to explain, or what I'm trying to explain, that is tangible. It can be tested. They understand how it works. They can even amp up the terahertz and the frequencies. They know how radiation works. These are, to me, even because they can't be touched or censored, through the 5-6 senses of our human body. No, everything is censored by the human body. But these are frequencies and vibrations that can be tested. And to me, this is tangible to me, So even when we can't physically see it, we know it's around us. Everything works in the field of protons and electrons and neutrons, positive charge and negative charge. Everything is by law under that everything is by law under that realm. Frequencies is under that realm. This is how we can hear. So everything that I'm talking about is electrical charges. This electrical charges can be tested. So we know that it's tangible. So we know that this field here that we exist in, everything in the universe works within atoms. Electrons, protons, and neutrons, and they get smaller to quarks and etc. Subatomic particles. But these are tangible things that can be tested, or we So this is my understanding, and this is why I use tangible so openly, because everything that I'm talking about can be tested, and when it comes to consciousness is a unknown force that makes everything works. Yeah. So this is unknown force can make frequency works, can make the protons and electron works, and everything in life work, so to say. Yeah. But everything in life can work with those protons and neutrons. Everything in life can work with those vibrations. Everything in life could work with those frequencies, and we can test them. We understand how they work. We understand that how we can translate words coming through our eardrums. We can translate and understand how light converts into your cranium and goes back into your retina, and then enters into your retina, which enters all the way your retina hypothalamus, which enters into your brain, and then how your brain converts that light into, you know, you got you got, you know what I'm saying? So everything that I'm talking about can be in the realm of testing. So Maxfield, I don't know if you want, I don't know if you heard what Tiffany was talking about.
So yeah, I heard a few of the questions sister had. So he was asking about the essential idea that there's some sort of life energy in everything, innit? Yeah, that's basically fundamentally what is a fact in essence, because everything's the same stuff manifested in some other way. So if there's life anywhere, there's life everywhere.
I agree with that.
It's all one system, right? So again, me being separate to the wall or being separate to you, it's all kind of an illusion created by my brain, because the reality is we're all part of one system, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like we can talk about the planet Earth, but what the planet Earth does is basically created by the fact it's a part of the solar system. And what the solar system does is created by the fact it's part of the galaxy, and what the galaxy does is created by the fact it's part of the universe. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Everything is like all the cells in my hand are going along doing their own little thing, thinking they're living their own little life. But they're just the cells that make up my hand. They all have their own jobs to do, innit? They have to get their own food, they have to take a shit, do you understand? And they think things happen that they don't like, things happen that they do like, but fundamentally, they're just cells in my body. They're all part of me. It's one big system, innit? So this leads back to my point about consciousness and the importance of understanding the role of consciousness. Because you just gotta think, if everything is systemic, everything is one big system, everything is stuck behaving how it behaves because of everything else. It's set for the conscious being. We are the only ones that are outside of that loop, because we have the ability to create wave functions that can manipulate physical reality just in the way wave functions do, i.e. thoughts. I can create a thought now that didn't exist until I consciously decided to have that thought. And then that thought can have influenced my body, which was the same point I was trying to make to you earlier about when I'm speaking to you and it makes your heart rate go up. It's got nothing to do with the waves hitting your ears and in your brain reacting and makes your heart rate. No. It's linked to that, but the reason your heart rate going up, it's got nothing to do with that. The reason your heart rate went up is because you had a conscious experience. It wasn't a physical experience that made your heart rate raise. Understand, I want to stick on this point. It was the conscious experience of you understanding the words, and because of a certain conscious state of mind you have, a certain idea you have, almost being tested by an idea I had. Ideas are not physical. Ideas are not physical. They're not what you just described as tangible things. Ideas are not tangible things. So this idea made your heart rate raise. It wasn't the waves, it was the idea. Because again, if you didn't understand the language, I would have given you the same waves, but there wouldn't have been no reaction to your body. So understand the difference there. You can measure the waves in your ears and how it made your eardrum move, and then that gives you synapses and da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, you can measure all that. But that doesn't explain why your heart rate went up. Those measurements won't explain why your heart rate went up. No, those measurements won't do it. They won't. Do you get that?
No, I agree with what you're saying, but I can explain how the mechanics work. So
yeah, I'm not talking.
No, I'm hearing. So I said I'm hearing what I heard you. I said I agree, but I can show you how the mechanic works. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, all right, but looking at the mechanics doesn't tell me anything though. Because the point I'm making is it was the conscious thoughts, an idea, that's what made your heart rate raise. Now you telling me how the mechanics work. What does that tell me about the actual ability to change your heart rate?
Because the systems that works without your consciousness, yeah, which is called autonomic systems, where your autonomic systems is systems in your body that work without your conscious. That's what I'm trying to say. When we deal with consciousness,
no,
we need to.
It didn't happen without your consciousness. It happened because you was conscious and heard the words, understood them.
No,
compared them to the ideas you had in your head.
No, it's nothing to do with that. It's nothing to do with that. It's autonomic systems.
I say something.
Yeah.
If I insult you, I say something about your mum.
Yeah.
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 And that makes you mad.
Yeah.
Which makes your heart rate raise.
Yeah.
It makes you sweat a little bit.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with anything other than the fact you understood it was an insult and you didn't like the word, you didn't like the meaning. You didn't like the meaning.
I get that point.
The meaning is not measurable. The meaning is not measurable.
I get that
it was
point.
The meaning that had the physical. So telling me the mechanics of why this meaning made the talent that made your heart, that's got nothing to do with the point. That it was the meaning that influenced you. And the reason the meaning influenced you, because you're conscious, you had a conscious experience. It wasn't a physical one. It was a conscious experience.
Yeah, I agree with that point.
You get that?
I agree with that point. I agree with that point. I think I agree with that point before. But let's take Tiffany. But yeah. Take Tiffany. What do you think?
Okay, well, I don't know. With the whole thing about the consciousness and the reason why your heart rate went up, I don't know if I could fully agree with that. I don't know if I could fully agree with that because let me explain. I don't think that sometimes I don't think consciousness could be the reason why you may go into a heart attack or something. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, heart attack.
I'm not talking about heart attack.
No.
I'm just giving an example. Because you said heart rate going up, right? So
all right. So understand what I mean by heart rate going up. I insult you.
Okay.
I insult you, and it actually annoys you. You actually take the insult to heart. Now you're mad, innit? Because I've insulted you.
Okay.
Being mad makes your heart rate go up, isn't it?
Yeah, it can do, yeah.
Okay,
I
get what you're saying. Your blood pressure and all that, yeah.
Yeah, so me insulting you made you mad, which made your heart rate go up. This has nothing to do with the words I use, because again, I use the same words, but you didn't understand the language, your heart rate don't go up. So again, the mechanics of the wave touching your brain doesn't make your heart rate go up. It was the meaning in the words which made your heart rate go up, and meaning isn't measurable. That's what I'm getting at.
It's just the way how you bring about the energy behind it. So how you expressed it can cause somebody to like go into a rage or something. Versus if you just say in a different tone or whatever, right? Hopefully I'm making sense on that. So it's not.
No, that's not what I'm getting at either. The point of what I'm saying is not whether the tone or anything like that. I'm talking about the special ability to make a physical reaction happen in somebody via expressing a meaning, which is an immeasurable thing. So by giving you a thought, which is the insult, I can make your physical body react. This is the point I'm making.
Trigger a person. So
I can make them physically react. We can use the word trigger, but I don't want to use that. I want to use the word Eazi's using. So I can get a physical reaction in your body. I can make your actual body act a certain way by giving you a thought, which isn't a measurable thing. That's the point I'm making. So a conscious experience directly affects physical reality. And it is not a physical experience that made that happen. Because the physical experience on its own wouldn't have made that happen. Again, if you didn't understand the words, nothing would have happened to your heart rate. But only because you understood the words, and only because you understood the intent, and only because of all this stuff going on in the world of your mind, which has nothing to do with physical reality, it's just how you proceed, not in a physical way, that is why your heart rate has now changed. So this is the conscious reality affecting physical reality directly.
I want to say something to that after Tiffany's done.
Okay, so your whole thing is mind over matter. basically, right?
It's not. That's oversimplifying it. I'm making just a simpler point here that quite clearly, in that analogy, that quite clearly consciousness directly affects physical reality, and you're saying that it doesn't do anything, but I'm showing you a clear-cut example, and it happens in every conversation. Living things do this all the time, and I'm trying to show you that this is key to just how living things work in a fundamental way. This is how living things work fundamentally, but it gets missed for material science. This is my point. You just focus on the biology and the chemistry and the physics of shit, and you're just missing this fundamental thing that's right in front of you. That's the point I'm making.
Okay. I got you. I understand you a little bit better now. Okay. Well, kind of piggyback off of that. I think that I will say this, like, you know, whatever does affect you mentally can also affect you physically as well. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, there is the correlation there, because that's why, like, for example, mental health is very important, because if you don't focus on the mental health, right, then eventually it can mess up the physical health and your emotional health overall. So your mental health is the most important part of, you know, it's the most component part of your health. You know what I'm saying? So if the mental is not right, then the physical is just going to be disorganized. It's going to be out of control. The emotional is just going to be out of control. It's going to be out of chaos, because the mind is not at where it needs to be. The mental is like not in the state it needs to be. So the psyche is the most important aspect of the human body. The mind, the mental part is the most important aspect of the human. So again, the mental is really like discombobulated and it's messed up, then it's going to affect everything else. So yes, I can see where you're coming from with that. So yeah, you got to look at that connection. You know, all that intertwines with each other.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Eazi's gonna say what you have to say now. Yeah. Okay, what he's speaking about of how these consciousness can control certain parts of your body, and frequencies is not in control of the cause and effect of certain things that occur. Yeah. This is, yeah, I will say, because this is there's sources, yeah, but I haven't got a source on me right now, but I will give a percentage that I'm not 100% know is 100% correct, but they say about 10 to 5% of what he's talking about is actually what works in the human body. He's talking about having control, yeah, having that thought and creating emotions out of hearing a frequency that enters into your ear, and your brain translating what that frequency is into words, and then creating an emotional effect out of it. That's only 10% of your human body functioning. So when you're saying that consciousness rules every part of your body, that's only 10%. Remember, because you have something called subconsciousness, and then you have non-consciousness. Non-consciousness rules 80% of your body's functioning. Yeah. And another thing, when we're talking about consciousness, if you was living and governed by the whole world in your body, and your physical is governed by consciousness, yeah, then your body, and you will be walking like a slow-mo. You'll be walking like a robot. Your body doesn't function in consciousness. Your body moves on non-consciousness. Your organs, your heart rate, your microbiome, which is have their own organisms that creates and helps different organs and different functions of your body. They are not governed by your consciousness. They're not governed by what you was explaining, how those words that you translated through frequencies made you feel like that. They're not governed by that. And that's like 90% of your human body is created by foreign organisms. Yeah, like the microbiome. These influence you and send neurotransmitters that make you feel that you're happy about eating something. This is not your control. These are live organisms that is not even they're not even governed by the human body. These live organisms with their own brain and their own consciousness, like you were saying, everything is consciousness, controls your body. controls your emotions and feelings. So I understand what you were saying and how that we translate words and it can have a physical effect on certain organs, but that's only 10% of your body. Your whole body moves on non-consciousness function. That's why I brought up the autonomic systems. There's systems in your body that works without your consent. So let's start there.
So the point I was making, you're trying to almost rebut it by saying it only controls 10%.
Yeah.
It only controls
5.
No, but it's a pointless rebuttal to the point I was trying to make. You was trying to say something about immaterial and consciousness isn't a real thing and stuff like this. So I had to make this point.
Okay.
To show you a fundamental reality about conscious reality affecting physical reality. So that was just an example to make that.
Okay.
Now what you're describing about the subconscious and the unconscious, again, these are terms to describe things that the people that coin these terms don't fully understand. What you are conscious and what you call unconscious, what you are consciously aware of, yeah, there's levels of my body functions that I'm not consciously aware of, as in I'm actually thinking about it to make it happen. But that doesn't mean that there isn't some way to link the two. And that doesn't mean the two are unlinked. There are people for thousands of years that have taught. This is where, you know, when you ask about the question, how do you measure consciousness? Not in a lab. It doesn't get measured in this physical, in this Western form of science that you love so much. It doesn't get measured that way. It gets measured in the ancient way. It's via meditation. It's via mindfulness. It's via all these practices. And these people for thousands of years have always practiced these concepts because they have understood there's deeper levels of control over the body you can have via different levels of practices and training that you can do over years, whether it's through breathing practices. And, you know, they call it prana, they call it chi, they call it ra, but manipulating the conscious ability to control your body, this is just what they're basically doing. And through breathing practices, there are people that can make their body heat up, make their body cool down, make their heart rate slow the way down. They can make themselves heal. It's been done. Can't measure it because the way they've done it, it doesn't come up on a lab.
You can measure that.
But it's been done.
You can measure. You can see the cause and effect of your. No, wait, no.
How they done it.
You can see the manipulation within the brain. You can see the manipulation of the brain, and then you can see the cause and effect on certain parts of the organ that they're trying to manipulate. You can see it. You can see things work. You can see things.
I don't know what you're talking about. What I'm talking about, no. What I'm talking about is self-healing. I'm talking about people healing themselves via just doing some meditation, okay, going up into the hill, changing their body's systems, the way they run, you know.
Yeah, but I don't think. Well, let me before you carry on, Matchfit. Before you carry on, I just want to say, I agree with what you're saying, but like I said before, that's only a control of 5 or 10% of your body. No. So what I'm saying is, my main point is that you're not governed. You are not control of your whole body.
I don't like this calculation. This is just some calculation you heard in some lab somewhere. Again, what did I just say? There are people, you say you have 10% control over your body, but there are someone that has way more control over their body than you because they practice. There are people that have done this and they've controlled their heart rate in such a way they can lower their heart rate in an instant. They can make their brain waves come up on a thing in a different way by choice. They can go from fucking the sine wave to another type of wave by choice. They can make their hormones produce differently. You don't have that level of control over your body. You never practiced that.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe there are people that control their breath way better than. No, you practiced it a little bit, bro. Respect what I'm saying. People train.
No, I'm not saying nothing.
People train, I train. It doesn't mean we train the same or to the same level or to have the same level of understanding of training. Just because you've done it doesn't mean you're capable of what they're doing.
I never said I did nothing. I never said anything.
I'm saying,
okay.
Different levels of conscious control over the body. It's a matter of what do you even know you're capable of? How long have you been practicing it? And how aware are you of your body? End of the day, when we use these terms, they are subjective, subconscious. So what does that mean? What does that mean? What you're not aware of? You're not conscious of your heartbeat right now. If you was to focus and practice on focusing on your heart rate, you could be much more aware of it to the point, like I said, there are people who can just slow down their heart rate. they're very aware of where their heart is beating, how hard it's beating, how not. Some people are very
but that's
aware,
not my point, no, Max Fit. That's not my point.
One sec. Some people are very aware of the way they breathe. Now you would say that's a subconscious thing, your body just breathes anyway. No, for some people it's a very conscious thing to breathe a specific way. For most people, blinking is just a very subconscious thing. No, for some people, blinking is a very conscious thing. There are levels of consciousness of what your body's doing, and again, you can get deeper, and there are people that have manipulated their way their body behaves, the way their body produces hormones, the way their belly digests, their body temperature, make it go up, make it go down at will. These are all different levels of consciousness of their body.
Okay.
Now, you would argue these mechanisms are subconscious. Now again, the idea of the subconscious and the conscious, what you gotta understand, there is a direct relationship. You're right, there's aspects that you're not always consciously aware of because the subconscious.
That's majority of your functioning. You're dismissing it like it ain't the majority. You don't live in by. You're not living by. Like I said, me and you are talking. That's 5% of what my body's doing without me knowing it. So when you talk about other functions, you know it's like it's you're demising the 90%, the 90% of the whole function. You're just demising it, and then you're just talking about what 5% that your body that you can tell yourself to do.
No, I'm not. No, that's what you're hearing. I'm saying there's a link. You're saying it like they're separate. There's one over here called the subconscious, and there's one over here called the conscious, and that one's 5%, and that one 95%, and they're in separate worlds, and they do their own thing. I'm trying to tell you it's not that simple. I'm not saying what you think I'm saying. You're not hearing what I'm saying. I'm saying they are directly linked. They're two sides of the same coin. They have different functions. One is the conscious. This allows you to focus. Specifics. The subconscious deals with the whole thing. They understand? It's not specific. It's a system. It's a systemic way of dealing with you as a system. The conscious is specific. What am I doing now? Am I sitting down or am I standing up? Am I eating or am I shitting? Am I walking or am I talking? The conscious is dealing with while you're walking, you're talking, your heart's beating, your blood's pulsing, It's dealing with all of it at the same time. But it doesn't mean that one's just separate and that one's just separate. Because at any time the conscious can decide to focus on specifics, that other specifics that the subconscious is dealing with. This is what I'm describing, the relationship between the two. You're just separating them because you see it in a book. One subconscious behavior, one's conscious behavior. The book told you this on two different lines, so you're seeing it as separate things.
Not really, but let's just speak. Yeah.
Have specific uses. So you use the conscious mind. And again, this is the point I'm making about these people. They have trained themselves to use their conscious mind to deal with subconscious faculties. That's the whole analogy I'm giving.
I agree. But I agree to that point.
The point. All right, then, cool.
I agree to that point. Go on, sis.
Okay. I want to say something. Now there's, I don't know, like as far as like, you can consciously control what goes on with your body. I mean, yeah, you can, but to a certain extent. Because at the end of the day, while you thinking that you got everything controlled with your body, as far as like, health wise, like, you might think that you healthy, you thinking that you maintaining yourself, you doing well and all this stuff, but then there's something that's going on in your body that you don't know anything about. You know what I'm saying? There's some type of activity taking place. Like, for example, there's some type of disease that's going on in your body. Okay? And it might be a disease that's incurable. So with that disease being incurable, right, you're not going to know right away. You're not even going to pay attention. Because at the same time, on the outside, you think you're healthy, you look healthy or whatever. But on the inside, you may not be as healthy. So you might be dealing with a chronic disease. A disease that's been going on for a long time, like for example, for a cancer, like certain type of cancer. Let's say like you had some type of I'm trying to give a good example. Let's say if a woman has some type of ovarian cancer, all right, she didn't know that she had ovarian cancer right then and there because she didn't feel the effects that was going on within her body, but after time goes on, later on she starts to feel like something's going on with her ovaries, and her ovaries not as functioning as it used to be. So she's like, okay, well, let me go to the doctor and let me find out what's wrong, because my stomach is hurting and something is going on right in my stomach area. Then the doctor finds out what's going on. The doctor say, okay, well, you have ovarian cancer, and you at like stage 3 of ovarian cancer. You almost at stage 4. So, you know, so when you get to stage 4 of having cancer, there's nothing you can really do about it, because at this point it's like, that's pretty much a done deal. You know, you at stage 4, so you gotta live with that. You know, you at that final stage. You know, so that means that cancer done got so aggressive to the point ain't even nothing you can really do. So to say this, to say that, you know, you really don't have that type of totality of control over your body. I mean, certain aspect you can control, and then you can only do it for so long. You know, so you can only do it for so long to where, you know, at that point it's beyond your control, because it's like now, you know, you got these diseases that's coming into play and you can't really do much about it. So like, you know, especially when it's a virus, you know what I mean? Especially when it's a virus, or if it's a cancer, you can't really do much. So it's like you just have to deal with it. So you just have to deal with the fact that, okay, well, if I got this cancer, I'm not gonna allow this cancer to, you know, mess me up mentally. You know what I'm saying? So I have to deal with it. I have to accept that it is what it is. Or if I got this virus, I'm not going to allow this virus to do anything to me mentally, because everybody knows that there's no cure for viruses, right? So, you know what I'm saying? Even with a COVID virus, there ain't no cure for it. You know, so if you catch COVID or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to deal with the fact that you got COVID. I mean, there's a remission. You know what I'm saying? Your body can go into a remission or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You can deal with the placebo effect. But outside of that, there's no cure for that virus. You know, because once that virus hits that host cell, then it's over with. It's inside that host cell. And the only thing your immune system can do is just block off that, you know what I'm saying, to keep the virus from attacking your immune system. That's it. But once it gets inside that cell, you can't get it out your cell. You know what I mean? So that's just my whole thing, and that's just where I build on that.
Okay. Okay. Now what do you now let's talk about different type of functioning. So okay, I don't know, actually no, actually, if you got something to say. I'm just gonna just build up on what I wanna, because I wanna deal with the human body as in aspects of having different types of organisms, you know how I deal with my bacteria and viruses and everything, you know, and these species of different type of organisms having control, and even like what you're talking about, manipulating your body, using your body for their advantage, and I want to have your understanding of what how can that be within those systems of consciousness, but the thing is, wait, Max, I have to ask you this though before we get into that one. I was trying to find out, is this what you're saying, with consciousness, having that control, like you were saying, going into meditation, having that control of learning how to make your breathing longer, or your heart rate higher or lower or whatever, having that control, that control, is that the consciousness that controls everything in your body, as in that there ain't no separate conscious organisms that might have a different agenda, a different goal, a different mind? Is it all connected into one, or the fact that you can control everything that you decided to focus your mind on is connected to? If you get where I'm coming from, is it connected? Is it all connected, or is it separate? Because my understanding is, like you were saying, there is separate. Microorganisms is separate, they have their own agendas. They live inside of us with their own agendas to survive. Then they are in there and they can cause harm, and then they can benefit us and help fight against foreign invaders. But they have their own agenda. They're not there thinking that I'm helping Eazi. I'm not helping, you know what I mean? They you see what I'm saying? So is it all one? Like you keep on saying everything is one? Or is it what you're trying to say that I'm saying is separate systems, and they have different you know what I mean, different functions, the thing is going to lock off again. We have to go and come back in. But this is But this is what I'm gonna get in. We got to jump off and come back in. But yeah, so hold that thought.
Yeah.
Hold that thought.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
family.
But let me just say, it is all one. Yes.
Oh, okay, see then this is where we're gonna have problems.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Alright, it's coming off now, so it's gonna be back off, come back off. Remaining. Shit. Jesus, mad thing.